Welcome to Buckets, coming to you from the Tommy John Home Studios. My name's Matt Moore. I'm the senior NBA writer for the Action Network, joined by NBA futures analyst Brandon Anderson for this, your best bets episode for Saturday, May 10th in the association. We'll give you best bets. We have sides, we have props, we have totals, we have all sorts of great stuff. You can be found in the award-winning Action Network app that just received a big makeover. We've got lots of different options in there, lots of different angles, lots of cool stuff in there. You can now put in things like if you get a bonus bet, you can log that in the app as well. You can track Brandon's props and sides and futures and all the stuff that he does in there as well. Make sure to check out youtube.com/The Action Network and check us out. On Sunday night, we will have Buckets Live, recap on the weekend, getting you set for Monday's show. It's the Future Jays, me and Joe Delera and Jim Turvey. Brandon sometimes wants to hang out. We'll see if he wants to on Sunday night. Lots of stuff going on, so make sure to check it out on Buckets Live every Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday throughout the playoffs. We'll probably actually jump that up and go more often during conference finals, but that is TBD. All right. On today's show, we'll give you best bets. We'll also talk about, we're going to do like a series reset with me and Brandon. We're going to just go through these series and see where we're at with the second round. We'll start, Brandon, with Cavs and Pacers. Cavs facing an 0-2 deficit on the road tonight in Indiana as we record this on Friday, facing the Indiana Pacers. They are expected. So DeAndre Hunter, Darius Garland, and Evan Mobley are all hopeful, I think is the word to play. Shams said they expects them to try to play. Just like that, nobody wants to give anything solid on these. I will tell you, I don't know if they're going to be able to go. Like these injuries, from what I understand and from what I've heard, are so limiting that it's like if they go through warm up and they can't get there, then they may just not be able to go. So I don't know whether they're going to go or not. Line is increased on this. We're not giving out best bets for that game. For the Cavs, there's a lot of pathways I can see for them winning, but also I'm concerned because their direction seems to be in the opposite of that, and I'll talk about that. But what are your kind of thoughts on Cavs Pacers and what's in the Cavs' favor as they try and get back in the series?
Yeah, I mean, it has to start with those guys being healthy. If the guys aren't healthy, then I think that this is going to be quick work, and it could even be just Pacers in 4 very easily if Garland and Mobley are not ready to go. I like Hunter, but Garland and Mobley are the two that you need, of course. I see a lot of reasons, if those guys are healthy, I see a lot of reasons to believe in the Cavs game to game, but not necessarily for the series, because as it turns out, losing the first 2 games at home, however you got there, pretty bad for your chances to win a series. So if you dig into some of the numbers, some of what you're seeing there, we talked about this on yesterday's with the best bets, things that the Cavs can take away and feel decent about. First, just big picture. You played 2 games. You had no Garland in either. You had no Mobley and Hunter for one of them. And you came 30 seconds away from a split. If you knew that going in and actually got the split, you'd probably feel pretty good with that result. Okay, we missed Garland, both of them. We didn't have Mobley and Hunter. We stole a game. We can survive. We got through. Of course, they didn't. They didn't get through. They blew the last one, but they were really close. So the process is not necessarily so far off. 3-point variance, as with every series this round, it feels like, very heavily to Indiana. Both Indiana very good on threes, Cavs very bad on threes. The main thing that stuck out to me is a couple of things. Number one, Indy's turned the ball over a lot this series, both games so far. I didn't expect that. Indiana does not turn the ball over a lot. Nembhard had 8 turnovers last game. Indiana had 18 turnovers. If those turnovers keep happening, as good as the Cavs offense is healthy, the number 1 offense in the league, you can't give them that many extra chances. The Cavs right now are winning 3 of the 4 factors. They're just losing EFG by a whole lot right now. But I think the whole lot is Garland and Mobley. So the other thing that really grabbed my attention is this. Game 1, the Pacers shot 44% on 2s. Game 2, that goes up to 58%. They were way better scoring. Why? No, Evan Mobley. Evan Mobley is gone. You're going to score 2s a lot better. Duh, that makes sense. The Cavs dropped from 60 to 35%. 2 reasons. Number 1, Evan Mobley. He's going to score some easy stuff inside. Number 2, Ty Jerome. Please stop Ty Jerome. No more Ty Jerome. At least less Ty Jerome, because that's the other thing. If Garland is back, that means Ty Jerome gets to do the bench role again, rather than the starter role he's basically been playing. And we talked about yesterday the cascade effect of, okay, now you have not just a better player in the lineup in Garland, but you have Ty Jerome on the bench where he's better, playing easier competition. You have Jerome and hopefully Hunter on the bench, where we talked about Indiana having, do they have a bench advantage, especially at home? Well, they're home now. If the Cavs can steal back a bench advantage, and the Pacers' bench has not been that good so far, McConnell especially has struggled, I think that could swing things back that way. So, okay, now the 2-point thing swung where we expected before the series. Now the depth swung back Cleveland's direction. I think Cleveland's the right favorite in game 3. I think the Cavs are still the right favorite on a neutral court. The problem is they still have to win 4-5. So I gave out the bet yesterday. I'm taking Cavs game 3, Pacers series. I think the Cavs are favored game to game, but the Pacers are still a good team and only need to win 2 out of 5 at this point. So that's kind of the reset picture for me.
So you've been on the Ty Jerome thing. Jerome was good in game 1. Like, he was really good in game 1. So I don't think that Ty Jerome is the problem. I have another Cavalier to blame. It's Sam Merrill. With Merrill on the floor, like when I was tied up having to like make dinner when game 1 was tipping, and had I seen that Sam Merrill was going to be starting, I would have obliterated the Pacers line. I would have gone all in on that. And I love Cavs to start the series. I did not think that Kenny Atkinson would galaxy brain this so bad. With Sam Merrill on the floor in this series, the Cleveland Cavaliers have been outscored by 14.7 points per 100 possessions. They have a 129 defensive rating with Sam Merrill on the floor. Like, if you look at these numbers and you go like, well, Matt, they actually have a 127 with Evan Mobley on the floor. That's true, because Evan Mobley played game 1 and didn't play game 2 and played game 1 alongside Sam Merrill. The idea of going more offense in the series is idiocy. Like, look at these numbers, and I know it's small sample. I get that. But, like, these numbers are very clear in terms of watching the game and then matching the data. Isaac Okoro, yeah, he's a +9 in the series with a 113 defensive rating. Dean Wade, yeah, he's a +5 with a 106 defensive rating. And if you go back and you do the film, this will match it. Because Dean Wade is able to he did a phenomenal job with Tyrese Halliburton of jumping in front of the screen to deny Halliburton the opportunity to use that to string it into a switch. Just basically being like, nope, you're not getting over the screen, buddy. Versus Sam Merrill, Andrew Nembhard had twice as many pick and rolls in game 2 as in game 1 because they moved Sam Merrill off of Halliburton and onto Nembhard. And the Pacers were like, well, all right, we'll just attack with him. Like, they got to get him off the floor. He does not belong in this series. This is going to have to be, I'm sorry, Cavs, you're going to have to win this with our defense is pretty good, your defense is pretty good, your offense is great, our offense is greater. You can't be like, your offense is amazing, but ours is the sun. That's not going to work here. So if we get now Garland, this is what I don't know about. Is like everyone's like, well, they need Darius Garland back. And I'm like, do they? I don't know if I want another small guard on the floor, Brandon, for them to be able to target. Like, I would honestly, like, I'm going to feel better about the Cavaliers if it's DeAndre Hunter and Evan Mobley, and they're able to start Okoro, then go to Hunter on the wing with Strus, and Evan's able to play small ball 5. I will feel much better about the Cavaliers if that is the case, rather than Darius Garland's back, but DeAndre Hunter's out. If that's, like, I'm already on Pacers for game 3 because I disagree with the number. I will come back in, I think, maybe again on the Pacers if that's the situation. If Hunter's out and Garland plays, I think I have to play Pacers again. I get the idea, which is like, look, fully healthy, this is the best offense in the league. I don't know that that's the case versus this Pacers team in this matchup, though. Does that make sense?
It does make sense, but I think that I think there's the danger that we talk about of like, okay, well, here's the lineup that I want them to play. Okay, well, are they going to play that lineup though?
Right.
And I know you've tweeted about like there are some real questions coming up about Kenny Atkinson. Now we haven't seen him coach at this level, and he's not been great these first 2 games. I don't know. Like, of course, Mobley is the guy you want back most of the three choices. Like, Mobley is possibly, probably all NBA this year, defensive player of the year. Like, that's the guy you want back. And I even wonder about some of those plus minus numbers you're talking about. Well, do they need those other defenders on the court because Mobley was out? So if Mobley is back, do they maybe not need those other defenders quite as much now? Can they have some more balanced lineups a little bit then? And you don't want them to have a small guard on the court, but they're going to. They're going to have a small guard. So far, it's Ty Jerome or it's Sam Merrill out there. So wouldn't I rather have Darius Garland than those guys given the choices? Ty Jerome was pretty good in game one. He also took 20 shots. I don't need Ty Jerome taking 20 shots from me when my season's on the line. I just don't. He was 1 of 10 on twos in game two. He was awful in game two. He considering the way that they lost, I know the meltdown was why they lost, but Ty Jerome is also why they lost. Like, if Ty Jerome just doesn't do stuff in that game, Cleveland wins by significantly more than it ever being close at the end of the game. So I think both things can be right. Like, Darius Garland back means less Ty Jerome and less Sam Merrill. We can both be happy if that's the case. And, like, frankly, we want to see good players play in the playoffs. Like, no more injuries. Turn the injuries off. Like, we want all the guys to be back. We want to watch that version of the series. I think, I agree. Hunter is great and very important in the series. Mobley obviously is important. I want Garland back too. Like, I want the whole mix back, and I will feel good about Cleveland. I think let's say that the game happens tonight as we're taping. Those three guys play, and there's no presumed setbacks, and the Cavs win. Cavs win by 8 on the road. They cover. It's 2-1. We're going back to Indy for game 4. I know that we have to see okay, well, how did they win by 8? I get it. We don't know. All you know is what I've told you. How do you feel about the series? How do you feel about post game 3, Pacers 2-1, heading to game 4?
I'll bet Pacers in 6. That's probably what will happen. Is what I will bet there. I think that the Pacers probably get this is again, I have to really think about it, but my impulse is based off of experience and feel is Pacers come back and get game 4. It's 3-1. Cavs knock them off at home to force and be like, okay, all we got to do is win 1 on the road and we can force a game 7, but they can't do it. And the Pacers win and the Pacers advance in 6. So that to me is what I would probably look to bet based off of what the numbers are going to be is either that or Pacers -1.5 is what I would look at.
I mean, I think that makes sense. Like, history tells us that would probably be the most likely outcome at that point. I have the Cavs favored by the most in this particular game. Like, this is their best chance, even on the road. Well, no, I think I'd probably have them higher in a game 5 if we got there. So this is probably their second most likely win. So them winning this game can't move the needle to me that much in a series price. I'm already pricing in the desperation win that they have to get here. Otherwise, they're just cooked anyway. So, I have, even with what I thought was some Cavs optimism after looking at the numbers, still only at 30% on the series. And I'm already assuming this win for the most part, so they can't really go up that much from there. So that's why I ended up on Cavs to win the game, but Pacers still to win the series. And I do think I actually show some value on the Pacers even right now with the series price. So after a Cavs win, I'm almost certain I'll end up with pretty good value on the Pacers from there.
Yeah, I show a little bit of value on Pacers by 3 cents is where
right. Yeah, I don't show enough to bet it, especially at a juiced number, but that's why once the Cavs win and the price, how about this? Give me the price. What do you think the series is priced at after a Cavs relatively comfortable game 3 win, looking healthy? Who's favored? Got to be Indy, right? Still up 2-1 with the home game.
My numbers update. I have it. Actually, I have it. Yeah, I still have it that way. I have it. No, I have it flipping back to Cavs. I have Cavs 53% if they get game 1 or game 3.
So I still think it'd be Pacers -125, 140-ish range.
Yep. So I'd probably have to bet from that perspective. Maybe I'd have to bet Cavs, but I'm not sure I would want to. The first 2 games going so haywire put them in such a hole that I'm uncomfortable trying to get back into this series. Does that make sense? Yes, there are sides and angles and value, but I'm also just I don't know, man. Like if the Pacers get game 4 and they're up 3-1, that might be it.
Right. Well,
Um,
that's
I think
like you say. If it gets to that, I have to bet it. Well, you don't have to bet it. Nobody has to bet anything. And sometimes the best bet is just not betting, just sitting out entirely. Which to transition us is kind of where I'm at on Thunder Nuggets right now. Which is I don't feel like I have a great read on the series. Like it to me is the most interesting series, but I have the least interesting things to say about it because I don't even know if we've learned a whole lot. Do you have any takeaway out of game 2 when it's like a 70,000 point blowout?
no. Denver. It's the Denver reaction was interesting in that my read on it was they came out, the Thunder punched them in the mouth. The Nuggets got frustrated with the officiating for what I feel are understandable reasons, not as like a guy that covers the Nuggets, just like they decided in this game to be like on the interior, it's blood sports. This is a physical game and you can play physical. On the perimeter, it's March. Oh, you touch Shea, that's a foul. Oh, you touch Jada, that's a foul. Meanwhile, in the interior, Isaiah Hartenstein and Jokic are like trying to kill one another, are actively strangling each other, and they're like, "Play on. This is a man's sport." So it was very annoying to me to be like, "I don't care. I would prefer blood sport. Let them hand check. Let them hand check. Like have it both ways." But when you're like, "Oh no, it's perimeter fouls are in March," but no, just play physical basketball. The Nuggets to me, like this was a very prototypical. It's kind of what you would expect out of games too. It's what we expected for Celtics, and what's what we expected for Cavs. Okay, they got the first one, but now they'll come back and they'll win, and like Celtics alts, and they'll blow them out, and they can't lose game 2. And that's what happened. Like the OKC Thunder did not give them a single chance, and they executed well, and they were brilliant. And the turnovers continue to be a thing here, where it's like Denver is just gonna have to not turn the ball over, and if they can't do that, this will be a 5-game series. They will reverse sweep them if they cannot stop turning the ball over. Now, they'll probably not turn the ball over at least once. So the series is probably going at least 6. There's a lot of things that were not present in game 2 that are probably going to be indicative later in the series. Like here, do you want a fun one? The Nuggets created a shot, turnover, or foul out of pick and roll 4 times in this game. 4. Does that sound like the Nuggets offense? No. There was a lot after the first quarter. There was a lot of bring the ball up, one pass, guy fires up a shot. Oh, we missed. Thunder are running the other way. Like there just wasn't an intent to kind of get into your sets and play serious in this because the Nuggets knew like, all right, they're gonna get this one. That's fine. We'll get them back. Like it's 1-1. We got the split. Let's go back to Denver. They were tired after the game 7, and then the emotional like rally to win game 1. They hit a wall. And that's not to say the Thunder aren't better. They are. Like the Thunder are a way better team in the series. But the Nuggets are very live, I think, to win the series based off of how the matchups are going to be presented. I just don't think the game 2 matters a whole lot. Denver, I will say this, that the post game or they had practice yesterday, and the comments were very much like they had a really open, brutal film session where everybody talked about, quote, their feelings about game 2. And I was like, that's interesting, because I would have figured it would have just been like, yeah, I mean, they got it. It's fine. Let's rally. But instead they were like, that was embarrassing. We can't let that happen. We're going to come out with more fire. Now you could say that and it doesn't matter if you don't execute, if you turn the ball over, if you don't hit shots. But I thought that the reaction was kind of interesting because it was just a little bit more intense than I was expecting from Denver. Yeah. Denver, I will say, in both this series and the last one, they have tendencies. They look to me like a team that is like, we're not going to win these series 4-1. That's not who we are. Like, this is a marathon, not a sprint, and we're going to be the last one standing. So I think the series is very live. I don't think Denver gets both in Denver. I think they split, regardless of how it goes. I think I'm going to be on Thunder in game 3, but I'm not entirely sure. Oh no, I'm sorry. I did the numbers this morning. I'm on Nuggets on spread, but not Matt Mitchell rule, which I know I shouldn't. Like by Matt Mitchell rule, I will sprinkle as obligation on this pod, but like I just think the number's too high. I have it Thunder -3. So I am tentatively on Denver, but I do think it's more of a coin flip type of game than it is anything else with game 3. What I do know is whoever loses game 3, I'll be on in game 4.
And that game is tonight, and you'll be there, correct?
Correct.
So give me like give me and the listeners like some X's and O's, or just like, well, what are you watching for? Give me a couple of things that you think are going to be the keys tonight.
Okay, so the real trick for Denver is they have to take Jamal Murray and then they have to figure out an illusion spell to make him vanish on defense so that they don't actually know he's there to target him. Because God Almighty, did they target Jamal Murray in Game 2? They went after him. What I love about the Thunder is they're the type of team that does this, where they don't do the we're gonna switch hunt you and just try and beat you 1-on-1. They're like, oh, you're terrible, so we're gonna have J-Dub do back cuts. We're gonna have J-Dub do split cuts. We're gonna have J-Dub do stampede cuts, all these different cuts when he guarded J-Dub. We're gonna involve you in pick and roll, but that doesn't mean that Shea's gonna attack you. No. Then we're gonna hit Hartenstein on the short roll, and he's gonna kill you with the floater. Or we're gonna force the action over, and MPJ, when he sinks over because nobody on your team trusts you to handle Shea, we're gonna kick to those corner threes. A lot of it for Denver is gonna have to be deciding: are you living with the switch or are you not? This has been a problem for them all year, but it's something they really got to do. If you're going to do this switching defense, if it's not involving Jokic, they blitz with Jokic. If it's not going to involve Jokic and you're going to switch, you can't then be like, oh, I'm going to go help my teammate out. You can't do that. You got to live with it. The whole point of switch is so you don't have to help. If you give the switch and then MPJ sinks up the court from the corner, you're giving them the worst of both worlds for you, which is Shea can get Murray posted up and shoot over him, or he can kick to the corner. So I think Denver's defensive game plan will be a little bit better. I think offensively, especially, you'll see a little bit better spacing. They're going to stay home on MPJ, but Christian Brown missed a lot of wide open threes. Role players shoot better at home. Russ has been lights out from the corner. If he has a bad game, then sure, that's bad, but he's been reliably good, 40% plus in the regular season and playoffs from the corners. So I think Denver's going to get the offensive contributions that they'll need. It's going to come down to Denver's defense holding up against OKC's offense, and that's mostly principles and discipline to game plan.
All right, that's good stuff. I saw on Twitter you posted, I think you were on the Real GM podcast talking about this as well. Out of all 8 teams remaining, you think the Denver Nuggets, the team you go to and cover each game, are the least likely remaining champion. Why? Is that a Denver thing? Is it just because they're playing OKC? What's the reason?
So we recorded this yesterday on Thursday before the Wolves game. Okay. So at that point, the Warriors inherently being up 1-0, okay, have a higher chance of winning their round, right? Not than Denver necessarily, because it's 1-1 Denver, but yes, because the Wolves are not as good as OKC. The other problem is when you game plan this. Let's say the Nuggets beat the Thunder, and let's say the likely event happens, the favorite wins, and the Wolves beat the Warriors. The Nuggets now have to beat the Wolves. Well, the Wolves have absolutely owned them over the last year. They beat them in the second round of the playoffs, 4-3, with a 20-point comeback in Game 7, and then swept them this year. They have not been able to answer. They have no, and the Wolves play with such confidence. Denver's not drawing dead versus Minnesota, but I would have to have Minnesota favored in that matchup. Okay, let's say they get past that. Then they have to face Boston, Cleveland, Indiana, New York. 3 of those teams obliterated Denver. They were not even in the same building in the regular season. Again, regular season's very different, but I can't have Denver favored over, honestly, any of those teams. I can't have them favored over Cleveland, Boston, or even New York. I can't. As much as I'm with you on New York, I would have to be like, look, the Knicks have really owned this matchup. And they have Cat, who gives Denver a lot of problems. Pacers would probably be Denver favored, but I would want Indiana. Let's say it's Warriors advance. They beat the Thunder somehow, okay? And they face the Warriors in the next round. I will like Denver, but at that point, the Warriors have now knocked off 2 teams with basically voodoo. And now we're in a Heat 2023 situation. So I can't feel good about that. So this is very much the dude in Princess Bride. I can't drink the wine in front of you. That's the problem, I think, with Denver. Yeah, that's why I have Denver lowest. Now, if we did this today, I would have the Warriors and Denver tied on that bottom tier because the Warriors lost, they're without Steph, etc. But going into game 2 last night, I had to have the Warriors above them because they were up 1-0.
Okay, that's fair. Here's my last question on this series. We all expected, you and I said on the series preview pod, it's already 1-0. Oklahoma City is already up 1-0 in the series. Game 1 is already over. They're already going to win the game. We said it. We said we're going to have to rethink everything if that changes. And it changed, Matt. But here's my question. Recency bias is a thing. We are all prone to it. It is the thing that we have most recently watched, then we anchor to it. What would happen and how would we think about this series right now if we flipped game 1 and game 2? Just flip them in order. Game 1 happens and it's the game we watched. 149-102. Oklahoma City ends it in the first quarter. The Nuggets look sloppy. They turn it over. They're bad. They're terrible. Game 2, the Thunder are good. They lead. The Nuggets are fighting all the way. It's within like 8-10. And then the Nuggets make a big push at the end and steal the game. Right now, Oklahoma City is like a sizable, healthy favorite in all the markets. And I think that a lot of that is because we just watched them obliterate Denver. What if the games were in a different order and we were just like, tired Denver team, so they gave away a blowout. But then, man, that championship grit, they came back, they hung in, they took the punches. Like, did we already forget about that? Do you think the order would change the way you think about the series?
No, because I think my entire thing was they got to get one. If they're down 2-0, the series is over. They had to get one. And so them getting it, I do think it probably impacted the market because everyone, I think, overreacted to that game too. I understand how awesome the Thunder looked, and that's like what we expected from OKC. But this is kind of the problem I have is like, OKC's not going to be able to impress me in this series. I know how awesome they are. So when they win, it's like, that's how good OKC is. They should be healthy favorites. They are amazing. And when they lose, it's like, you got real problems in terms of some of the physicality and some of the close game situation stuff. There's no way for them to really win in this series in terms of impressing me. They can impress me in the finals. That's the only real situation where I think that they can impress me. If they wipe out the Wolves, then that would impress me. But even if they were to reverse sweep the Nuggets, I'd be like, yeah, well, the Nuggets defense was trash all year. They exposed them. That's it. What I do think is interesting is we've talked about this on Locked On Nuggets, which I host, is the question of whether the Nuggets need to win 3 and 4. And Denver fans are very split on this. That my co-hosts and a lot of Nuggets fans are like, no, like they don't need to win 3 and 4. They just need to split. And if it's 2-2 going back, we've seen them win this situation before. Like when it gets close, when the series gets late, that goes in the Nuggets' favor. And I think that that's generally true where you don't want to see Jokic in 6 and 7. It's a bad spot to be in when it's like, I got to have more energy after this grueling series than Jokic. I'm on kind of the other side of it where I'm like, you need to get a 3-1 series lead, not only because it increases your chances of winning, obviously, but it's important here because you got to be able to put this mental pressure on OKC. Game 2 was we're fine, everything's fine game from the Thunder. And you need to put them back into what's happening? Like we killed everyone this year. We're down 3. How are we down 3-1? We have to win or we're out. We're out. Like the whole season, like we're done. You want them in that situation because they're younger and less experienced and not used to the situation. So to me, they got to win. They have to win 3 and 4. I'm not ruling out that I'm not saying that the Nuggets cannot win the series if they don't win 3 and 4. They can, but I'm going to lean heavily Thunder if they get one of these 2 games.
Yeah, I think I might even push a little further. I think that Denver might need to win game 3 in particular, or at least push them all the way and keep that mental block in there of like, keep OKC guessing. Don't let them be comfortable. Otherwise, you come out of game 3 with a comfortable win and you're like, I mean, look, we should really be up 3-0 right now. We should be up 3-0. We had a bad 2 minutes at the end of game 1, but we're much the better team. We're in good place.
Yeah.
Like they're not feeling threatened at all. And Oklahoma City has lost 2 games in a row twice all season. And one of those times was in April when it didn't actually matter and they stopped trying. So up 2-1, I'll do the math for you. You got to lose twice in a row to lose the series at that point. So I think game 3 is already a spot that Denver needs to come out. That's tonight. Some of you will already have listened to this by the time that game has happened. So let's go to the Saturday series. Here's my bullet point I put in here first for Wolves Warriors. My team and the Timberwolves facing off. Why does this series suck so much?
Would you enjoy it if Steph was healthy?
Yes. I was so excited. I was like, this is great. Win-win scenario. The team that I enjoy and the team I pretend to enjoy. I get to enjoy both of them. I'm leaning into the bit now. I've really enjoyed watching this Timberwolves team and the 2 playoff runs these couple of years. Like, these are 2 fun teams. And I was like, man, what a great series. What could possibly go wrong? Either way, a team that I really like watching is going to win a series and then we in the conference finals. Well, it turns out the thing I like about the Warriors is Steph Curry. So Steph being out and then the Warriors winning anyway is literally the thing that could go wrong for me. And it's not been fun to watch. It hasn't been that fun to bet. I don't know if we've really like learned a lot because the injuries keep happening. Ant has had an injury both games now. I don't feel like that's nothing. He's not playing well. It's not fun. And this like Warriors, I thought the Warriors were playing Rockets ball last round, but turns out maybe that's just Warriors ball and that's the thing they're doing. It's not that fun right now.
Yeah, that's the thing is like, you're like, well, they're fun to watch with Steph, are they? Like, you can enjoy when Steph hits improbable fadeaway threes like everyone's been watching for 10 years. But in reality, like, no, this is why I have not like been on the Warriors. This is what they've looked like, man. Is like they're a slog. They are the 2011 Celtics, just trying to piece it together with an aging core that's just like, well, they're not as good as they once were, but they're as good once as they ever were. Like, that's who they are. And it's just like worn out, and the role players are not inspiring. You're not like, God, I love that guy. That guy just makes winning plays. I love that guy. You're just like, I guess this guy is good. I guess Kerr's playing 12 dudes because he can't find anybody.
Kerr played
They
14
need Buddy
guys.
Hield.
14.
They need Buddy Hield. Like, they need Buddy Hield. And they don't need Buddy Hield because Steph's out. Like, they needed Buddy Hield anyway. I just, and the problem is like they're one of those teams that is good enough defensively and they're coached well enough to drag the other team that's super fun and make them not look good too. Like, that's what this is that type of team. They're not good. They make the other team look bad. Very Heat-like. And it's not like a Jimmy Butler thing. It's just like a coincidence between the two. And that was the thing with this Wolves series is like the Wolves are way better than they're playing right now, but the Warriors play a style. I don't know that anybody's going to look good versus Golden State. I don't know that anybody's going to look good versus Golden State. I don't think the Thunder are going to look good versus Golden State. And that's a real testament to like Kerr's coaching and how good the personnel is and how tough they are. Like, there is a testament here, but their defense also doesn't they're not like OKC ripping the ball away from you for exciting plays. They're not making highlight blocks. It's just gross. The whole thing is just gross. And I hope and pray that the Wolves can get them out of here in 5, but they won't. I know they won't, because much like those other teams that I mentioned, they'll just hang around and hang around and hang around. And then Steph's coming back, and it's game 6 in the Bay, and oh man, and shooting hoops are back and all that. And then it's going to be a game 7, and who knows? Like, it's very rare that I'm like you have been, where you're like, I want no interest in the series. I don't want to watch it. I want nothing to do with it. Like, I dread having to turn these games on. They are wretched basketball exercises, Brandon.
This is going to hurt some feelings, namely my feelings. I'm going to hurt my own feelings with this analogy I'm about to make. What you're describing right now with the Warriors, like the version where it's like, come on, we know that they're not that good with the thing they're doing, but they're trying really hard. They're playing really good defense. And man, is the offense bad, but just every now and then they do a couple cool things. Kind of feels like that Chicago Bears season that happens like once every 4 or 5 years. And then the special teams touchdown in overtime 4 times that year. And they're like, oh, 11-6 back in the playoffs now. You're like, but they're not good. And the games haven't been fun. They're only fun for those 2 moments when the huge turnover pick 6 happens, but they suck your life away for the other 3.5 hours. And, I live in this area. I've seen that season like 5-6 times since I've been out here the last 2.5 decades. We see it every year. Well, whatever the NFL team is, I was trying to think like the Steelers, the current version of the Steelers, where it's like, oh yeah, over 500 again because coaching and defense. And I was like, yeah, but football? Can we watch football? Can it be fun? Really? We have to have the Steelers in the playoffs again. The version without Steph Curry. I'm not willing to go there with Steph Curry, but I don't think we're seeing Steph until at least game 5. After game 5 is a 3-day rest, 3 full days before game 6, yeah. Wednesday to Sunday. So I don't think we're seeing him game 5 either. I don't know if we're getting to game 6 if that's the case, but the current version without him is the current Steelers. That's what we're stuck watching. And I don't want to watch Steelers playoff games or Steelers regular season games or what's happening with this. I want Jimmy Butler to try to do the Butler thing, like when he does the triple double and does everything. He did not do that at all in game 2. My last question for you on the series, and this hurts me as well. Does it even matter anymore? Like, I was the one at like last round Knicks Pistons, and I was the one being like, oh, it's so fun, what a fun series. Doesn't matter because it's just going to be fodder in the next round. Well, it turns out, joke's on me. They're up 2-0 anyways. Does this series matter? And does it matter more than, well, yes, because Minnesota winning would be bad for Denver? Is that the only reason, or is there more reason that it matters?
Wolves took 2 off of Oklahoma City and matched up extremely tough with them in all those matchups. They are actually a really good counter to OKC. Wolves Thunder would be an amazing series, and because the market is going to have to be so high on OKC, I'd be looking for +1.5, +2.5 on the Wolves. I absolutely think the Wolves can, not will, can. I think that there will be edge in betting the Wolves to beat the Thunder in enough games. I like that matchup a lot for Minnesota. Here's the thing with the Warriors. If they get past the series, again, I return to you to what I said before. If they get past the Wolves, it's because of voodoo. And now all of the logic that says OKC should beat this team in 3 games is out the window. And it's going to be 2-1 Warriors. And I'm just going to be like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? It's going to be the Warriors. That is, to me, that is like a very, very possible outcome. By the way, a potential Thunder Warrior series I do make at -31.99. That is what I make the Thunder in that series. I'm not exaggerating. That's what I have it at.
That's the healthy Warriors, correct?
Yes. No, I'm sorry. That's without Steph. I could run it without.
Okay.
That's currently without Steph. So
yeah, I don't buy the voodoo thing, but if they have advanced past the round, I have to assume that's because Steph at least came back to like game 6, 7 and pushed it there. Yeah, I don't think it doesn't matter at all. I guess built into that question is I'm concerned about Ant right now. If Ant is healthy or gets healthy enough again, then I do think Minnesota can win more than just the series and it could even be a chance to win the championship. I'm worried that 2 games in a row now, he looked very tentative. He rolled his ankle. He had last series against the Lakers. He had the time where we were like, oh, Ant's done for the series. Then he just like hopped up and just like titaniumed his leg and kept going. He's not been good near the rim lately. He's under 50% layups in the series so far. I guess that's built in as I'm a little worried. Like, you don't just magically heal. So maybe the answer is that the Wolves take care of the Warriors in 5, and then they magically get like 4 or 5 days off, and that helps. And Ant has been a fast healer and an Iron Man. But I guess as the Minnesota nihilist in me creeps back in from what's been a really fun team, it's like, this is like 3 times in 8 games now that we've seen Ant, the one guy you can't lose, take what looks like a pretty significant injury. And I know how the playoffs go. Like, that stuff adds up. It doesn't just suddenly disappear again later. So I'm worried about that, but hopefully that's nothing. And hopefully the series surprises us and it's not the Chicago Bears and the Pittsburgh Steelers playing in a Super Bowl because, heaven help me. Speaking of heaven help me, Celtics Knicks, take the floor. Shot variance.
Okay, so the game 1 and 2 were not the same thing. Game 1 was they took a lot of pull-up jumpers off the dribble, and that's why they generated so many threes. They created better 3-pointers in game 2 and just missed them, but they also took fewer of them because they were getting in their heads and trying to force their way on the interior, which is not what they need to do. Like, Joe Mazzulla is facing, I think, the toughest test of his tenure. This is harder than, honestly, being down 3-0 to the Heat. Because that series, I think, is mostly we played the right way and things didn't go our way because, again, voodoo from Miami. This is much more the way that Mazzulla coached this team this year is reaching its breaking point. And maybe they can refine it and find what the team that they were last year and get themselves back into the series. Maybe they just hit a bunch of shots that aren't as good a quality and they wind up winning. That's entirely possible. The expected EFG is in Boston's favor. It's always going to be in Boston's favor because of where they shoot from and the quality of their shooters. it does leave themselves, like, this is what Jim Turvey has been talking about all year. The variance leaves themselves open to these kinds of outcomes. And the question is like, yeah, but 2 in a row? It's like, well, it's unlikely, but it can't, like, it does lead it to more being more likely than some other teams. I am concerned that there will be a game where things go more right for the Knicks than wrong for the Celtics, and that winds up with a Knicks 3-1 lead. And then I don't know if Boston is able to get themselves into a place mentally to get back in the series. I don't mind at all your plays on the Boston Celtics to win this series. I'm actually kind of hoping the Knicks take game 3, and then I would want to bet Boston. Like, I genuinely would want to bet the first 3-0 comeback. That would intrigue me more than where it's at right now. That's where I'm at as far as analyzing a lot of this. With, yes, they were up 20. That doesn't win you the game. Yes, they had better shot quality. That doesn't win you the game. And I think this is less about luck than the conversation from Celtics backers suggests, while also not saying it's not about that. You have to be able to sustain and withstand bad luck. Boston is unable to right now. And that, to me, is maybe your biggest concern with the rest of the series if you're a Boston backer.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the biggest concern, but I think it's a little bit unfair to say they're unable to sustain against bad luck right now. Well, of course, right now is what we're talking about. It's only been these 2 games.
No, but I mean this season. Like, this is how they're built. Like, that's the way that they've played all year. Is like,
yes,
that they have not been, like, last year they shot a ton of threes. They generated great offense. They were disciplined and smart and well balanced and could attack you on the interior and would use different mechanisms. And this year they are literally just like, it doesn't really matter. Just jack it up and don't let them shoot threes and we'll win. That's literally what they've been this year to me. It's why I've said,
I just don't think that that's fair. That's not what's happening when you watch the game.
I've watched them and I've done the numbers on their regression in terms of how they generate these shots, Brandon. Like, it's not based off of nothing. That's not a feel thing. Like, this is a genuine, I have noticed a marked change in how they generate shots this season from last year.
I agree that it's different, but I think that it is reductionist to say, they're just jacking threes and that's all. They just want to beat you in threes and that's it. Like, that is an unfair reduction to just the math thing. There's a lot more than that. It's not none of what you're saying, but it's not all of what you're saying either. I think it's unfair to just throw it all, like, it as equally as it is unfair for me to say it's just all shot variance, which I'm not saying, by the way, but it would be as equally unfair to say that as it is, it's just all math. They just only want all the threes. It's all math. They're not in a good team. It's just all math. That's not the case.
They're a good team.
That's fair.
They're a good team, but they don't play to those strengths. Like, they don't maximize what those guys did, like the way they did last year. It's one of the reasons I think Jaylen Brown has struggled so much this year on top of a handful of injuries. It's one reason why Kristaps Porzingis' numbers, even when he wasn't sick, were not as good as they were last year. Like, there's all these little details. Their defense is still great, but it's not elite. There's all these little details, all when you look at them in conglomerate and you go like, so what are they doing instead? They're shooting a lot of threes. That's what they're doing. Shooting a lot of threes.
They're shooting a lot of good threes, and they should have made the good threes that they're shooting. I posted on Twitter, there's a chart about open threes, and obviously the data on what counts as open is always going to be up for grabs, but they're shooting 25% on 24 open threes per game by the data. The Knicks are shooting 50% on 15 open threes per game. That's an outlier good for the Knicks. It's an especially outlier bad for the Celtics. It's like a 5th percentile or below outcome for Boston. It's an 11th percentile outcome on Boston's behalf for New York to shoot that well. It's like a 1 in 190 chance on the data alone, just on the open shots, that it would go the way it has for these 2 games. And if you make one other shot, look, even I rewatched the end of game 2 in the 4th quarter. There were at least 4 different times on 4 different players, Horford, Tatum, Brown, and White, that got a wide open, horribly defended 3-point shot. And one of those goes in and it's 1-1, and we're thinking about the series entirely differently. So It's not only that, but that's so glaring and such a huge lopsided numbers difference right now. And it's going to be because Boston shoots 100 threes in 2 games. The variance is going to be a higher amount there, but it's so glaring that it's hard to not have that be such a huge factor on the series, even though there is a lot more interesting stuff happening. I do think it matters going back that, like you said, game 2, less threes is not the way for Boston. Like, they've built the thing. They got to do the thing now. I'm assuming that Missoula has got them to buy in on this and will get them to buy back in for game 3. I think it is troubling a little bit that I don't even think New York played all that well in game 3. Who played super well for New York in game 3? I don't really know. Like, guys had a really good quarter here and there, and I'm not even taking away from New York. As a Boston bettor, I should be worried. New York is not supposed to be able to play not that well and still beat Boston. That's not supposed to be in my spectrum of outcomes for New York to play poorly and still steal a win, because New York's going to play better than they played in game 2, 3-4 more times in the series if necessary. So I felt better, I think, about Boston after just game 1. I still feel good about them I feel great about them game to game right now. They're still down 0-2. I have the Celtics 54% to win the series. I have them a slight favorite despite the 0-2. That's a big deal. Remember, I said I have the Cavs 30% to win the series, even though I have them better than the Pacers. That's how much better I have Celtics than the Knicks. Matt, I didn't see this from your podcast. You had Denver your least likely title team right now. Right now, today, Friday afternoon, Boston is the blank most likely team to win the title.
They are the 4th most likely team to win the title.
I think that's crazy. I think Boston is clearly still the second most likely, and I think Boston is the favorite in the East.
Why do you love this team so much? I'm very confused. You've been you used to be very anti-Boston, and somewhere along the way we've turned, and you have the most confidence in them I think I've seen you have in almost any team that we've talked about through the years.
They're very good. The formula works. Like, even if you want to reduce it just to the threes thing, the threes formula works with a lot of good shooters and a lot of math. And there's not a lot of other very good options left. And the other teams that are options haven't played well or are injured or are behind in their series. Like, it's Oklahoma City number 1 with a bullet right now. The way that they're playing and the way that they're 1-1, it's to me, like, they're second but closer to third. I would have said before the playoffs, they're second but closer to first, or maybe first ahead of Oklahoma City. I don't remember anymore. But they're definitely falling back. It's about Boston, but it's about the other options as well, which I still just don't think there are other options that I believe in as much.
So again, it's a very momentary picture, right? It's this, if we're going to do this in the moment, these results have to matter. And you're thinking it more of what I'm expecting by the end of the second round. I think that's fair. The question is at the moment we did it. And so the Pacers are up 2-0 going home. They have to be above Boston. They have to be. They have to be above Boston.
But they're not in any sports book right now. They're not in any sports book above them. We're a betting podcast.
You don't think the market is accurate. That's your entire edge. So I'm telling you, I don't agree with that assessment. Because
you have the Pacers second. Did you bet the Pacers? You have the Pacers second most likely to win the title. You should be betting the Pacers. We're a betting podcast.
I bet Tyrese Halliburton, Eastern Conference Finals MVP.
But you have them second most likely to win the title. Why would you not bet them win the title also? They're 13-1, I think, and the Celtics are more like 3 or 4-1.
So again, here's the key. I will not like the Pacers versus almost any team that they face in the finals.
Okay, well then they're not the second most likely to win the title.
They are to me, because they're still up 2-0, because they're still so much more likely to advance out of this round than Boston.
But you have to win 3 more rounds to win the title, not 1. The future matters.
I don't think Boston
part of this.
I can't put the Pacers and the Knicks below Boston when Boston's down 0-2. They're halfway to elimination.
It doesn't matter. Boston is still better. Boston is definitely ahead of Indiana and New York, and that's how they're priced. And that's why it's worth betting.
The history of teams in the second round to go down 2-0 it's 2-12 in the second round. Conference Finals is 6-59 when you're down 0-2 when the other team started at home. I'm sorry, that's actually 17-0 for the road team when they start that way. In total, when teams go down 0-2 after starting at home. Those teams are 5-38. They have to, I know how many threes they make, Brandon. I know how few fouls. I know how good the four factors is. I know how good the four factors is. But like, they're down 0-2, and they can come back and win the series. I think you're smart to be betting this the way that you are. And at that point, I'll be like, yeah, now it's Boston again. If Boston gets out of this round, Boston goes back to the top to me. Does that make sense?
Okay, but you're too late. You're too late to bet it then. Now you're betting a bad number. Right now is when you have to bet the thing for later. That's how betting works. Like, you have to get the number now. The number will be gone later once they've proven they've done the thing.
But you think that it's would you say it is, okay, what's your number for Celtics right now?
For Celtics, what? Series or what?
Series.
54%.
Okay. That is not a high number, right?
No, it's certainly not. It's not. It's not a high number. It's obviously slightly higher than a coin flip. You know, we bet a lot of -110s. It's slightly higher than that, basically. I still feel very strongly that if they escape this series, that they would be significant favorites the next round, especially because Cleveland is down 0-2. So that's why I bet Celtics plus 190 to win the East when it was available. It's not available now. It's down to plus 140, 160. At plus 140, it's 41.7% or 41.3%, I think. I have it 41.7%. So the books have made it like exactly the number I'm at. And the difference in percentage implied is not huge from plus 190. The difference in value to me as a bettor is huge. That's 50 cents on my bet, and I bet 2.5 units on it. Like, that's a lot more there.
Yeah.
So I still don't know what I think about in the finals, who they're playing once they get there. I still don't know that I trust them that far. And all this attrition now is going to add up later because they're going to have to play at least 6 New York games, probably 7 to get out of the series now. We know how that stuff matters later too. I don't know if I trust them 3 more times. I just think if you think, like, even fast forward to the end of the day on Saturday night, the Celtics have gone to New York, the huge, crazy MSG crowd, but they won the game, and it's 2-1 New York now, going to a game 4. It flipped, and the pressure is all on New York right now, and everyone is back believing Boston's going to win the series, and they are clear favorites in the series. And all it will take is one win in game 3 for Boston to be clear favorite in the series and clear favorite again in the East. And so I think you have to bet it now if you think that's what's going to happen. If you don't, it's fine if you don't. But if you don't, then you should be betting a different version because books are still telling you that they think Boston's going to do the thing.
I agree. I agree with your logic here. So part of this is also like we can disagree with the process of how we arrive at these numbers, but everybody's going to have their own process, right? And like I've got New York 61% to win the series now because I started with them being. Remember, like on the pod, I was like, this number does not seem right to me. And so now I'm stuck because what I should have done was bet New York based off of that number, because now I'm using a number I disregarded, right? To justify not betting betting the Celtics now.
Right. So to me, this is the key. Again, we're a betting podcast. We're covering the NBA playoffs. This moment right now, this moment until game 3 tips off is the most important moment for you to bet NBA futures in the playoffs. This is the moment because either you have to decide what you think about the Celtics. You've had to decide before because you've already had to factor it in. But right now, if you believe in them, you have to bet them. You have to find a way to bet their futures. Matt bet them on the championship. I bet them to win the East. If you believe in them, you're never getting a better price than 0-2. Yeah. If they go down 0-3, we're going to like them still to have a shot, but history is against them. This is their shot at the bottom of their barrel price. If you don't believe in them, if you think that I'm wrong about Boston, if you think Boston is going to be eliminated, then that blows up the entire title picture. Boston's been being priced as like 30-40% to win the title. And if you don't believe in Boston and think they're going to lose the series, that's fine. You can think that. But if you do, there is value somewhere else, a whole bunch of value. And that value is going to go away once Boston is eliminated and everything reshakes on the price. So right now, down 0-2 with what maybe was the best team in the NBA in some people's eyes, you've got to decide on a 50-50 series, which side of the coin are you on? because whichever side you choose dramatically changes any futures you could get the rest of the round and the rest of the playoffs, honestly.
Yeah. I used a bonus bet to bet Boston to win the title. The biggest reason I'm there is you have a lot more reticence about how Boston versus those finals teams than I do, where I like Boston versus OKC, regardless of how those games wound up. I like Boston versus Denver. I like Boston versus Minnesota.
Yeah, I don't even know if I have reticence. I just haven't done the work enough yet. So
Yeah.
I trust you on that. I just haven't gotten there. I know I trust them in the East. That's what I know.
Yeah, so it was there. Now that's the thing is like I don't trust them to get out of this series because I think the jig may be up. Maybe it's
It
not.
might be.
But like that's really kind of where we're like you. That's where you and I are across. Is I'm like I have seen stuff that worried me about this Boston team all year. I've been screaming to the high heavens. This is not last year's team. They are not as good as last year. And that team got the most favorable lie in the playoffs you could have imagined, which is shaping the perception of them. Like Locked On Celtics is like, where's the championship pedigree? Where? And I'm like, guys, you beat 3 teams in the Eastern Conference without their best player and a Mavericks team that had no business being there. Like, you won the championship. You get to hang on to that. This is not like the Warriors. Like, you're not the Warriors. You're not the 2000. You're not the Miami Heat. You're not the Spurs. That's not who you are. You have one run where things went right for you and you were great and you were the best team by far. Like both those things are true. You didn't win because the path was easy. You won because you were better. But we never got to see how you respond to adversity because you never faced it. And now they're facing adversity. And now we're going to find out what happens.
I don't think that's fair. They've played in 6 of the last 8 conference finals. They never face adversity. They can have not really faced adversity last year and still have faced a whole lot of adversity with this core of the team and the guys and the coaching staff. Like,
we got to get you a Boston shirt. You're a Boston fan now. This is great.
I have a Boston shirt. Okay, Matt, who right now, Friday afternoon, we've played 2 games in every series. Who's your one team? You only get one. Who's your one most likely conference finalist right now?
Indiana.
Wow. Holy cow. That would not be my answer.
I know. You don't think is it true that you don't think anybody in the East is good except Boston?
No, I don't think so. I think Boston is just better than the rest of the teams in the East.
Okay. So, I mean, you're right.
My answer is the Minnesota Timberwolves.
That's a good one. I like that one too. So part of this, Brandon, also you have to understand a Celtics Pacers series, I only make 59% for Boston, which is good. It's minus 148. They're still favored.
Yeah,
right?
But that's not Boston good. That's not what Boston. You have to be betting Indiana when the prices come out on that one because Boston will be favored by a lot more than that.
Yeah, and I think they're alive, and I'll probably lose, but I think that I just don't agree with the number. So that's
okay. Last question: rank the series right now from shortest to longest of how you expect them to play out. I'll go first. You can think. I think that the Celtics Knicks series is the longest because I think we're getting 6-7 games. I think that Oklahoma City and Denver is the shortest, and the books agree with both of those positions. I'm not sure where I'm at on the other two necessarily. I can go back and forth. I'm going to go Thunder. I'm going to go with the 2 West series as shortest because I don't trust the Warriors without Steph. So I'm going to go Thunder shortest, then Timberwolves next shortest. And then I do think Cavs Pacers is going to go deeper. I trust the Cavs to win some games now that they're healthier. And then Celtics longest. What do you think?
I want to be very clear when I say all these things. My confidence is shot. You should listen to Brandon. I don't know what I'm doing. I am lost in the woods in these playoffs.
I mean, this round is rough. My confidence is not high on this round either. That's why we just spent an hour talking through all these because it's like a full new series preview and everything.
Shortest is Cavs Pacers. Longest is tied with Wolves Warriors and Knicks Celtics.
Okay. Is that basically Wolves Warriors as a coin flip to you? Is that what that's kind of saying?
I think the Warriors get one more, and that gets
and then Steph's back, and then we'll see.
And then Steph's back. So it's at least going 6. I think Knicks and Celtics, I think has to go at least 6, and Warriors Wolves, I think has to go at least 6.
Okay. All right.
Let's do some best bets for Saturday in the association. We mentioned at the top of the show that we're coming to you from our Tommy John home studios. That's because great games start with great underwear, and Tommy John makes the greatest. It's finally warm enough to where we had to open up all the windows in the house. It's so beautiful here in Colorado. But that also means it can get stuffy in my house. So that's why I gotta have stuff that's breathable, like the Tommy John's t-shirts and the Tommy John pajama pants when I'm going to bed, and Tommy John underwear throughout the day. It's the best, most comfortable underwear you will wear. Remember, when you're truly comfortable, you do everything better, and that includes betting. So if you love our crew and you love buckets, you're going to love Tommy John. Get 25% off your first order right now at TommyJohn.com/buckets. That's 25% off at TommyJohn.com/buckets. Brandon, what are your best bets for Saturday in the NBA playoffs?
All right, I'm going to go Peyton Pritchard over 1.5 threes, even though it's minus 170 on the juice. We'll take the Pritchard escalator on threes. I'm going to take Jalen Brunson to be your round 2 points leader at 20-1 at Bet365. And then in the night game, give me Brandon Podziemski over 3.5 assists, Julius Randle over 5.5 assists, and a game time decision here. I'm going to add on Warriors team total under. We hit that in game 2, under 98.5 as well.
All right, I'm on Celtics minus 5.5 in game 3. Derek White over 16.5 points. Jaden McDaniels under 1.5 3-pointers made. I also love Brandon's Pritchard over threes play. I'll be on that as well. Let's talk Celtics Knicks. I'm surprised you're not on Boston. I mean, I know that inherently your plays on the Boston.
Right. That's the only reason.
Is a play,
but I'm on Boston to win in 1,000 ways already. So that's the only reason. Otherwise, I'm obviously on Boston. So why? Yeah. What do you have anything else to add to your why Boston minus 5.5 for you?
The number that I've got this at is close enough for me to think that Boston gets this done. A lot of this is, I think, from a basketball cap, the Knicks have gotten enough to go wrong for Boston, where it's like, even if just like a few random possessions had gone the other way, the Celtics nab one of these. Home court just can't be really considered that valuable at this point. Like, how am I supposed to really look at these playoffs and be like, oh man, you know, home court matters a ton. I do have the Knicks as dogs. I don't have them as much as this line, but it's close enough to where I do think that that the edge has got to be on Boston down 0-2. The numbers are kind of split on how teams perform in this spot in general. Like, let's take a big picture step back. When a top 2 seed is favored by more than a possession, it's a very smart bet to put money on that favorite. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to lay the money with the Celtics here, lay the line with the Celtics here, minus 5.5 to get the win and get this game. I don't know how game 4 goes, but to me, the most likely outcome is Celtics win game 3. There's an overreaction. Then the Knicks take game 4 and everybody's like, well, I don't know now. That to me seems like the most likely outcome here. So I like Celtics minus 5.5.
Yeah. Part of why I like the Celtics still in the series is because I agree. I don't think home road necessarily matters a lot, which maybe that should be bad for the Celtics because maybe it takes away their game 7 advantage if it gets there. The Knicks have not lost a road game yet this playoffs, as New York fans would be sure that you would know. Boston has been really good on the road. And I think Boston's 3-point style bombs away is less like it, as much as that invites all the other shot variants. I think that it like minimizes the home road variance factor as well, because it's just like, yeah, did we hit the shots or not? And especially since it's most of their stars there. My case for Jalen Brunson to lead round 2 in scoring is really tied to that last thing we just talked about. I think this series is likely to go long. If you're on the Knicks to win the series, don't take this bet. If you think the Knicks win in 4 or 5, don't take this bet. It's not going to go well. I think it's going to go 6-7 games. I think it's the most likely to get to 7 games. I have game 7 40% in Boston and New York, which is about what the books have as well. If this is the longest series, don't I want to score from this series? And if I want to score from the series, it's got to be Mr. Clutch, Jalen Brunson, 20-1 at Bet365. He's only at 23 points a game so far, so that's not great. I'm hoping for more. But 23 points a game in 7 games, if nobody else plays 7, but this series probably gets me over the line. He won this bet in round 1. He was the leading scorer. If he gets up to his usual 28-30 a game. I think you can win this even in 6 games. Here's the competition. Steph is out. He can't win this. Ant is playing hurt right now. Donovan Mitchell is playing hurt right now. They might not necessarily go to 7 games either. Shea and Jokic are the main competition, obviously. Shea and Jokic could be a 5-game series unless Denver pushes that one deep. So if you think Denver gets to 7 games, don't take this bet. It's dead. It's Shea or Jokic. One of them is leading. If you think Denver or Oklahoma City goes 6 or shorter, I think there's value here. So Brunson 20-1 as the points leader. A little bit of FOMO on this one. I wanted Brunson points leader last round, and he was only like 12-1 or 14-1. So I was like, that's not even that much of a long shot. So I bet Donovan Mitchell, and then, the Heat did not show up for the playoffs. So it didn't go well for me. So trying Brunson again here at 20-1. Gonna make the case for the Payton Pritchard escalator.
Go for it.
All right. So, man, I don't know if you know this. The Celtics shoot a lot of threes. So I was thinking maybe I'd take somebody to make some threes on the Celtics. So Pritchard, over 1.5 threes. It's minus 170 at Caesars and a couple other places. Pritchard played only 22 minutes last game. I think he probably should have played a little bit more. He was good in the fourth quarter, made a couple shots for them. Airballed one pretty badly too. But he, in the series, is 2 of 5 and 3 of 9 on three-pointers. The volume is fine. He's getting the shots up. He's at least 2 threes, so covering this number, 5 of 7 playoff games. And of course, the 2 misses are against the Magic, who don't let you shoot threes ever, no matter what. So that's pretty good cover rate, 5 of 7, even with most of those games against the Magic. Pritchard averaged 3.2 makes in the regular season. That's a little high because we know that he has like the 50-point game in there and he's getting a little bit more minutes, but usually getting around 6-7 attempts. Against the Knicks this season in 6 games, he's averaging 6.5 attempts. So I think we see 6 attempts. So here's the math on it. 6 attempts this season. Pritchard has had that 63 times, at least 6 3-point attempts. He's had at least 2 3-pointers, 56 out of 63, 89%. So that's why I don't care about the juice here. Minus 170, that's 63%. 89% is a huge edge on that number. So Pritchard over 1.5 threes. And then it's time to take the escalator, because if you pull up at Basketball Reference Payton Pritchard and go to the game log, holy smoke, does this dude make a lot of threes. When the shot is fallen, he keeps firing away. When he has 6 or more attempts, he's at least 3 makes 75% of the time in those games. That would be a minus 300 bet. We get plus 210 at BetMGM. So that's the first step on the escalator. When he has 6 or more attempts, he's at least 4, 56% of the time, over half, plus 550 at BetMGM. And he has 5 makes or more, 35%. That's still a lot. That's over a third of his games when he's getting the shots up, which he's doing that in 3/4 of the games on the season. That's 10-1 at DraftKings. So Pritchard escalator, at least 2 threes, minus 170, 3 for plus 210, 4 for plus 550, 5 for plus 1,000. Our producer, David Payne, also points out, I had this in my notes as well, David. You can just bet on the attempts if you like. If you have bet 365, it's over 4.5 attempts. So if you just want to say, well, what if the Celtics, novel idea here, what if they keep missing threes? How about that? Okay, well, you could just bet them to shoot some threes and miss them anyway. That's minus 140. I don't mind that. I think especially compared to the over 1.5, you're getting a little bit better juice on it since that's kind of feeding it in anyway. So I don't mind that as the start of the escalator, but then, you can't escalate attempts. And I just want to hit some threes on the way up. We're going to get a game or two still, Matt, where the threes do fall for the Celtics and they do win by 20 or 30. And that's why I think Boston is still very alive in the series. So
is there a scenario,
at least 2 threes.
Is there a scenario where Boston hits threes and New York wins? Is there any scenario for you with that game script?
I don't think so. Because of the volume disparity where Boston's likely going to get up 20, 25 more, and if they're hitting at a good clip, it's just such a huge math equation that I know I said it's not all math. In that case, when it's the number of shots and the percentage, I don't see them getting there. So we'll get to the ballsy parlay later, but that ties into that. If the threes are falling a lot, and by the way, if the threes are falling, we like the bet even more here because you pointed this out before he came on. Payton Pritchard is Mr. Garbage. Like when the threes are falling and Boston goes up a lot, Payton stays in and keeps firing away a whole lot of threes. Like he's going to keep on shooting. That's a lot of those games where he's hitting 4, 5, and 6 are the Boston big wins. So If you think Boston finally comes through and gets a big win, that should make you like this even more, not less.
Derek White over 16.5 points. This one's pretty easy. He's hit it in both the games in the series, despite them not being able to shoot. White's getting the best looks of anybody. He's getting all of these catch and shoot wide open threes, and he's actually hitting a fair amount of them. He's not missing like some of these other guys are.
What's funny is he actually is missing. He's just not missing quite as much as the other guys are.
Yeah. He was like 40% in game one, I think, is why I said that. Yeah, so like here's a good example of it. He's averaging 10 catch and shoot threes in this series.
It's so many.
It's so many. Again, narrator, it was just the math.
He was 5 of 16 in game one, 31%.
Okay, my bad.
3 of 11, 27% in game two. But 27 attempts in 2 games is so many shots.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, I'm thinking of his catch and shoot percentage is why I'm thinking about this. When they're taking, again, if they would just stop taking the threes off the dribble, they'd be in much better shape. Just get into the defense and kick it out. Credit to Tibbs for switching, because that's what it's supposed to do. But that's what's funny is switching is supposed to mean you don't help, and they're still leaving guys open because that's the Knicks. But anyway, I want the points here. I got hooked on his 3-pointers made. I should take it here. I'm just like, what if they have another game? What if they miss the threes for another game, Brandon? Like, White's gone over this even with the missed threes because he's been able to get to the cup enough. So yeah. I will take the points here and not get greedy on White threes, but I do like those as well. I'm skittish after what I've seen from the first 2 games. Like, what if the basketball gods are just like, no, let's find out what happens if you just miss everything. Like, what happens? What do you do if you're just missing threes? And the answer is they lose, because it is all about the math.
Matt, I know I'm going to give you your angle back to you. I had someone ask me in my DMs yesterday. I forget the name, so apologies. But somebody asked, hey, what do you think about Derek White, 66-1 to win Eastern Conference MVP? I said, that's Matt's bet. Go bet it. But Matt, I think you should bet that right now. If you like Derek White anyway, I'm not sure I can see him winning MVP. But if you like him to win it, this is going to be the cheapest price you're getting. 66-1 is pretty good. I will say, watching back game 2, that was the one dude I trusted on the floor was Derek White. Like, Derek White is driving, actually like not doing the Boston shooty hoops thing. Derek White's crashing on the offensive glass. He had like a great one where he snuck in and stole an offensive rebound and got a tip in. It just rimmed out. Otherwise, even that one shot probably changed the outcome of the game. Derek's the guy I trust right now. I don't know if I trust the Jays. I don't trust Horford and Drew right now. I definitely don't trust Porzingis. They're going to have to prove it, and I think they will. Derek's the guy that's been showing up. So I fear you may be right too soon. Like, Derek White might be the Eastern semis MVP, and then can he still keep it up after that? But I like the bet because I think he is the steely-eyed guy who's going to keep them moving and win some of these games.
If you follow me in the Action Network app, you would have seen me bet him at 80-1 last week. So
okay.
Also, if you go to DraftKings, Derek White, ECF MVP, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Western MVP, is 95.88. Come on, man! It's 95.88! You think the Thunder are absolutely getting there? Come on! You said Wolves, so you can do and even get a better number. If you do,
it's just it's too much.
And Derek White, I know it's the one area I can't get you to go for the bigger numbers. I think just because I like them. All right, we got our Tommy John ballsy parlay. Since I like the Celtics, and the Celtics are great after wins, and the Celtics have to hit shots at some point, and Brandon likes Pritchard, and, well, what could possibly go wrong? Because we were so confident that the Knicks were going to get destroyed in the series anyway. Let's do the Brandon Anderson, and let's quadruple bajillion down. Let's get into it, and let's do a Tommy John ballsy parlay for Celtics versus Knicks. Here's what we're going to take. We're going to take the Boston Celtics minus 19.5. We're going to take Derek White 3-pointers 5+. And we're going to take Peyton Pritchard 3-pointers 5+. Those two are going to hit 10 threes in this game. If they do that, the Celtics win by 20. They blow them out. They've been up 20 in both of these games. They blow them out. All of the narratives are gone. Brandon's going to be absolutely insufferable to be around after winning just one game. That is 80-1. It does not get ballsier than that. That's our Tommy John ballsy parlay. Brandon, you like it?
I like it. Let's see the Celtics get back the shot variance in their direction. Let's hit some threes.
Wolves, Warriors, this disgusting, horrible series continues. I want Jaden McDaniels under 1.5 threes. This is pretty simple. The home road splits for Jaden are not good over the last 3 playoffs. He is a much better scorer at home. He is a much worse scorer on the road. Wolves defense, like the Warriors are going to have to win this game with defense. They know that. Kerr mentioned in several timeouts, we got to do a better job closing out on 3-point attempts. They're going to start closing out on Jaden McDaniels. He'll hit less than 1.5 threes. I want to bet on the series being ugly. That's the best way for it to be ugly. I'll take Jaden McDaniels under 1.5 threes. What do you got?
Yeah, for ugly series, that's why my case for my last edition. Warriors under their team total, 98.5. It was 95.5 in game 3. And then it started, and the Warriors were down 13-0 5 minutes in. And then it kept going. The Warriors had 20 points halfway through the second quarter as my mind shaft was just like printing money. And then the Warriors, for like the end of the second quarter and start of the third quarter, were like, what if we scored 31 points in 8 minutes randomly? Like, what if Kuminga suddenly shot 8 of 9 for this stretch? And what if Buddy Hield made 3 threes in a row? And that's not going to keep happening. Like, that was found money, those Kuminga points. I know if he plays, he's going to find ways to score. He's always going to do some other stupid stuff and then not play anymore. And Buddy tends to be very hot and cold as well. The Warriors just don't have a lot of scoring punch. So when the series moves to the Warriors being home, their team total has to go up to kind of offset like the home court advantage that's being built in. And I just don't see them getting to the 99 to cover that. So that's the ugly version of it. I wanted to say, okay, where did the assists come from in the series? Because I think that they've been coming from different places than expected. Obviously, with the Warriors, Steph is out. Steph had kind of become not a thing we think of with him. I think he's become the caretaker on this team, especially in game 7, where he wasn't scoring that much for them. He also wasn't turning it over. He was just running offense a little bit for them. I think they missed that. They're getting the turnovers now. So I tried to just figure out where are the assists going to go to now. Who's going to take care of the ball? I hope it's Brandon Podziemski because I'm taking his over 3.5 assists. It's minus 104. Pods play the second most minutes of the Warriors in game 2. I think he's one of only 3 two-way guys that they have at this point. It's Butler, it's Draymond, and it's Pods. I think he's got to be out there. He's rebounding as well. He's averaged 7 rebounds a game this series. He moves the ball pretty quickly. In the playoffs, throwing out the sick game for him, he's averaging 3.8 assists per game. Game 2, he had 6 assists on 9 potentials. Okay, what happened in game 2? No Steph. In 11 games this year without Steph, Pods is averaging 4.7 assists per game. He's gone over this line in 9 of those 11, 82%. Now, a bunch of those games were earlier before Jimmy Butler, so that's going to affect that a little bit, but I still like the Pods over 3.5 assists. If you want to sprinkle a little bit on just 5 assists, I'm not going to go too crazy on an escalator, but at plus 210, he did hit that in 64% of the no Steph games. So that's where the Warriors assists go to. Julius Randle assists over 5.5. This was a misread by me. I thought this was another Ant assist series. We talked about this on the preview. You kind of tried to talk me out of it. You said, I don't think it's really an Ant assist series. So far, you're right. Ant has 7 assists in 2 games, only 12 potentials. Julius Randle is the guy getting the assists for Minnesota. He had 11 on 14 potentials in game 2. He had 6 in game 1 on 11 potentials. He leads both teams in potential assists, leads the series in assists. So I just think this number is a touch low and hasn't quite adjusted enough yet. I think the Warriors defense is saying, you know what? Ant is pretty good as a playmaker, as it turns out. Let's see if we can let Julius Randle try to beat us. We'll feel better chances at that. And they're good enough defense to do that. So, I think Randle over 5.5 assists. It's even money. I don't think there's a huge edge there. I'm not going to add any escalators on this one, but I like him to do that. I looked at Randle assist leader on the series just because he's up so much, but he's priced accordingly. 2 little nibbles I'll add to wrap up here on long shot leaders in the series. I think it is an interesting series to bet the series leaders because Ant has not been healthy and Steph is out. So all the prices we thought coming in are all wonky and different now. So here's the 2. I'm going to nibble Ant to lead the series in 3s. He's only made 3 so far. And maybe more worryingly, he's only taken 9. So the volume is not there, but the volume has been there all season. And Buddy right now has 9 threes, but it's 9 out of 17. I'm not trusting Buddy for an entire series. And I know you're thinking, well, Steph is out. Buddy has to keep shooting. I don't know if Buddy can even like stay on the court long enough to do that. He runs so hot and cold. He either gets 3 or more threes or 0 threes in the game most of the time. If it's not him, Nas has 6, Draymond has 5, Butler has 4. I feel pretty good about my chances with Ant. He's 18-1. If it's not Buddy, I think Ant can catch up over the course of a series. And then a rebound leader, give me Jimmy Butler, 40-1. That's at DraftKings. Butler is 18 right now. Gobert is 20. Ant is actually leader at 23. Rudy's the clear favorite. Rudy is way dwarfing everyone in rebound chances, but that's always the case. And his rebounding percentage in the playoffs is like 40% right now. Like, my man, you're out there to rebound, do the thing, but he's not actually like so many times. If you watch Gobert, he gets a hand on the ball and somebody knocks out of his hands. He just like cannot secure the rebound right now. In a world where Butler does the Butler thing and just starts like trying to do a little bit of everything and plays with that extra edge, that usually means rebounds for him. And they did go up the last game a little bit. So he's only back 2 on Rudy, who I think is the favorite here, obviously. 40-1. I'll take a chance on that as well. So Pods over assists, Randall over assists, Ant threes, 18-1, Butler rebounds, 40-1 to lead the series. That's it.
Warriors under 98.5. I really don't think we need to cap, Brandon. Like, it's pretty obvious.
Yeah, I did. I capped it in like 20 seconds, and it was already in all the mix of stuff I said. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the cap. Did you watch game 2? That's the cap.
Yeah, I'm actually not on it. I make it 99. And it was too close to call last night. Again, this team is just going to be irritating in all sorts of ways, and I don't really want to have more. It's going to be difficult for me to find ways to get plays on the series that don't just absolutely irritate me either way. It's just too stressful from all perspectives.
Yeah, I'm not taking the mine shaft this time. I'll just take just the straight team total. It's at home. Somebody's going to make some shots for the Warriors. That's how things happen at home. They haven't been as good at home this season. They've actually been a better road team typically, but.
All right, good show getting into the weekend. Hope you guys have a great weekend. We'll be back on Sunday night to recap the action and see where we're at with all these series. Follow us check out the Action Network app. Download it right now. My thanks to David Payne, Gifford Gould, our producers. We'll see you Sunday night, 10:30 Eastern for Buckets Live with Jim Turvey and Joe Delera. Till next time, let's get buckets.